Welcome to another episode of Euphoric, the podcast. I'm sitting across from Jamie Anderson, who I've known for a few years now because not only is she an incredible 5X certified coach, but she's just blossomed into leaving behind her corporate role into going full time into coaching. So I think this is just going to be such an interesting story. I can't wait to get into it. How are you doing today?
Doing good, and thank you for having me here. I'm just so excited to be on here and to share my story. I haven't really been able to because I recently left Amazon. So it's like really, I'm just excited to share it with the world, kind of what's been happening and why I didn't, all that kind of good stuff.
Oh my gosh. So I remember reading a book about someone who went alcohol free and was like a top leader at Amazon, and she had to use like a pseudonym and be like super private. So I'm sure that there was probably a lot holding you back as you work there. Obviously, a very coveted role and position, but I can't wait to get into that. So tell me about like how the hell you made that transition. That's like a huge step and leap. And let's start there, and then we'll go kind of back into your story and stuff like that. We'll zigzag.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Yeah, well, so I've been in corporate America for over 20 years. I started at allrecipes.com back in like 2006. I was there for several years. I followed some of the leaders to another startup, and then I ended up at Amazon. So I've always been in the tech world. And for me, like working at Amazon was never my plan. I like grew up in the Seattle area. Like I just never like thought I would work there. And I ended up just, found this role that was perfect for me. And so I joined. So I was there for over 6 years. And I was just so excited to work there and like so proud to work there just because one, I'm just like a huge Amazon customer. Like Prime has changed my life. And so, but and I loved it. Like I loved working at Amazon. I've always been a high achiever. All like always really just wanting to um just pushed really hard, try new things, take on new projects. And I really loved just like the validation of getting things done and like doing a good job at work. So it worked really well for me and it's very intense, specifically because I have a startup background and at Amazon, it's like always day one. So it's very innovative. It's, very customer focused and it's just very fast paced. So it worked really well for me. So I just, so I worked there for several years. A couple years in, I was starting to get very stressed as far as the more I was moving up, the more stress I was feeling. And so, and when I worked at Amazon, when I started there, I was drinking a lot. I had a newer baby and I was really just drinking just to deal with like stress of life and parenthood and just figuring things out. And then so I found that, at work, when I would come home after a long day, I would just want to drink. And really for me, it was just my way to just kind of escape. And I started at Amazon right before the pandemic too. And so the day that we went home from Amazon in March, and I remember it specifically, they told us like, hey, you're going to go home for a couple more weeks. For a couple of weeks, we're going to see how it goes. I know life's different, but we're going to try to reduce the workload. And for me, it did not happen that way. I actually got put on this like huge COVID project. And it was so stressful. Like I was literally like working in the kitchen like 24/7 on this project and at that time I worked on a team to help third-party sellers. And so and I just was my drinking just continued to increase during that time. But luckily I ended up um getting pregnant during the pandemic. So like I took a pause on that obviously because I was pregnant with my daughter Charlotte. And then a year later, in 2020, I think it was 2021, after I had her, I just started drinking again, right? So, and work was just kind of my identity. And then being as a new mom as my second baby, I was just like struggling with postpartum depression and just like drinking a lot. But luckily, a few months into that, after having my baby, and I turned 40, I realized I was just like drinking at a whole new level. And so for me, I was finding that like with the baby stress and the work stress, that was my way of coping, to be honest. And so what I did was it was my 40th birthday and I took a break, or no, I was 40th birthday. I went on a girls trip to Palm Springs with my best friends in the college dorm. And before that trip, I was so nervous that they weren't going to drink as much as me. I was worried that like they're not going to be as much fun with me. And these are my really close friends for over 20 years. But I was like, for me, like drinking was my way to escape. Anytime we go on vacations or on the weekends or anything like that. And so I ended up going on the trip and I was like kind of hiding my beers like in the closet. I was like throwing my beers like in the garbage can while like they were all like in the morning sleeping. And I just was like, okay, this something's off. I ended up going to the doctor that week for a normal checkup, and I was like 60 pounds heavier at the time. My all of my just my blood results were just really bad. And my doctor suggested I go on a Mediterranean diet. Never once told me to stop drinking, to be honest. And I was like, okay, and I didn't do anything about it. And then a few months later, and Fourth of July weekend 2022, I just woke up and I was just like done. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so I quit drinking. But I found that, which was great. And it was like I had many start and stops, but like I quit drinking in July 2022. Um, and it was really hard for me at first. I was just like walking, I was kind of doing my thing, listening to podcasts and books. But I found that I was actually starting to excel more and work at Amazon. So when I removed alcohol, I was just like starting to get like bigger projects. I was like asked to move on, take on new roles. I ended up taking over the customer experience team for the gift cards team. I ended up taking on a business role for the physical and digital gift cards for the US and Canada. And they were just giving me more and more responsibility. And I was like, this is great. You know, I was like alcohol free. I was thriving. And for me, like alcohol was something I always thought like helped build my confidence and like helped kind of make me, you know, more outgoing and made everybody like me. But I found removing alcohol, it actually like really helped me, like as far as corporate America. And I was always very successful in work, but this like helped me just take it to a next level. Um, so that first year when I quit drinking, I was like starting to see the results at work. But then also I joined a community with Jen Hurst Lighthouse Sobriety, and that's how I met you. And then my passion really started going towards helping women be alcohol free. So I did one of her challenges. I met other women that were just like me. I started running a meeting for her when she started her membership in Lighthouse. And then I started exploring sober coaching. I had a chat with Jen one day and I was like, I think I do that because I always like mentored and I loved like leading teams and things like that. So I ended up going to London to see Janie Lee Grace and from the Sober Club, and I did her training, and I just like really loved it. And then a couple months later, I found you through Jen, and I did your program, and so I was kind of balancing this like I actually like went to London and like didn't say where I was going because it was like last minute. I was like, I have this really big like personal thing. I just have to go, and I like left work. It was like right when we are kicking off Prime Day. It was like crazy, but I just did it anyways. And I felt like I was like, this is it. I want to do this. But the thing is once I did that training and joined yours, and I was just like, I want this. I want this so bad. I tried to do it both at the same time. And I felt like I was trying to like do the coaching. And this is like during your training a little bit at the beginning. I was doing coaching and I was working at Amazon like 60-hour weeks. And I also have two little kids. My son, he has special needs. So I was just like, it was too much for me to handle. And so I said, okay, I'm just gonna like put my coaching on pause. So I like turned off my Instagram. And then I just went full into like Amazon. And the whole time I was like, I feel like I should have done that, but I just like made this quick judgment and I just did it because I felt like I was feeling like too overwhelmed and I just couldn't do it all. And a lot of it is just like Amazon's a very high pressure environment. And if you read any of the books, it is. It's high expectations. Like one of the leadership principles is insist on the highest standards. And so I always felt for me, it's like good was just like never good enough. So you just have to keep pushing and pushing and always doing better and optimizing everything you did. Um, and after a little while, it like I felt like my confidence was starting to just go down as far as the work because also I was finding that like I wasn't as aligned anymore with the corporate world. I was like still missing this coaching because it was really like kind of the calling to me. And so I slowly like started to try to integrate things into Amazon. Like I started to talk to some folks to see if I could do some sort of sober club at Amazon. I ended up getting my yoga teacher training certification, which not a huge yogi, but like it was something I always wanted to do. So I tried it. So I ended up getting certified and then I started leading, we called it Zen Zone Thursday at Amazon. And I was like leading yoga and then I was leading meditation, like flipping every other week. I also was starting to just push for to do like whenever we had any sort of event at work, it was happy hour. Like it's always happy hour, like always alcohol involved. So it was like really pushing, and I was very like proud of not being a drinker. I have no problem sharing, especially a couple of years in. But so then we started doing like you know, breakfast events, or we would do things where we had like, fireside chats and things like that. And I was really always just trying to promote like other options to alcohol. And I think for me, I slowly just was leaning more into something's not right at Amazon. Like I always felt like it was my true identity, but I just started to feel misaligned. I started to get very stressed at Amazon a little bit more. I started to kind of lose my confidence within the last year. And I just honestly, like, I took a pause and I said, okay, like, something's off here. And like, I need to figure out like really what I want. And this coaching and helping women like live their best lives alcohol free has always been my passion. But I was like trying to figure out how to kind of do that at Amazon, but in a different way. Um, and it finally just caught up with me. And so last January, I honestly just started to like really think about it. Like I was just not really feeling like I was like excited to go to work every day. I felt like something was completely off. I was constantly overthinking work, getting really stressed out about it all the time. It was something my husband and I was constantly talking to him about how like stressed out I was. Like I never thought I was doing a good job. And he's like, what are you talking about? You're always getting like great reviews. You get all this feedback. And I was like, I just don't like, I just never thought I was doing a good job. And I honestly just feel like my heart was just somebody else. But I was still like constantly wanting to do a good job there and like validation. So I just recently, just not recently, but I just decided to take the leap and I quit. Like, so I literally like spent a lot of time, a lot of soul searching, talked to my husband a lot about this and just really just figured out what I wanted. And I realized that since I went alcohol free, like I don't want to just do, I don't want to be just good enough. I want to live the best life I possibly can. And for me, it was following my passion of being an entrepreneur and helping women, like do the same and really chase their dreams. So that's kind of how it all evolved. But I have not even like had one regret about leaving. Like I miss the people. I mean, the smartest people, like, and I've learned so much from them. And honestly, it's made me a better entrepreneur today. Like I am scrappy, I try things, and I just move fast. But it's been the best decision I've ever made, honestly.
Oh my gosh, I love this story. So
Oh,
one, I
thank
think
you.
it's cool to see that the path towards entrepreneurship or your, own successful business, it sometimes can be just as like wavy and convoluted as the
Yes.
path to going alcohol free. Like it doesn't all just happen in an instant like that.
Yeah.
But I think what's so poignant about your story is like the passion doesn't go away. It keeps
Hasn't.
tugging on your heart no matter what until you go
Yes.
after it.
Yes, it's crazy. And I still think this today. Like, I still think like, what if I would have made this decision earlier? Like, how successful would I have been? Like, how many clients would have had all these things? But at the end of the day, like, I have zero regrets about the path because I'm here and I've learned so much just being able to really kind of dig deep to figure out what I really want. And it's been just like a really great experience. But I still wonder, but I'm just so happy that I finally did make the change and I'm doing it. And it's scary. It's really scary to do that, especially where you're working for somewhere, I've been there for so long and I had a very, and I had steady income and it was just kind of my identity. But I feel like I feel so much happy. I feel just so happy with this decision. It feels really good.
Yeah. And I think it's really inspiring too, because I've talked to so many women who have had the start and stop with like, oh, I'm posting on Instagram. Now I pull back a little bit. So I think you're validating a lot of people right now and being
Yeah.
like, you know what? It's not always this like, you get up and just go right away. Like it can be that process, but it doesn't mean that that should discount you from doing it and really going after it. Even if you already tried once, twice, three times, four times, like
Exactly.
whatever, like it doesn't die. That passion, you need it. So I'm so
Yeah.
curious because, you have this, you know, that trying to think of her name right now. It's like Sheryl Sandberg, right?
Yeah.
Sheryl Sandberg, she was from Amazon. She's probably done a lot of companies, Facebook, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So she had this idea of like, you have a personal brand no matter who you are, whether you
Mhm.
are working for an employer or you're out there having a business. So, as a top leader at Amazon, I'm so
Yeah.
curious, as you transitioned into entrepreneurship, did you ever use your network as a way to either get clients or like build upon that? Or did you kind of just like completely sever and say, like, I'm building this thing over here. I don't even want people to see it from over there. Like, what was your approach with that?
Yeah, honestly, I completely severed at the beginning because I felt like I wanted just a clean break, and I also just wanted to like clear my head of like corporate America. And I also just wanted to make sure that like I was focused on the right things for my business at the moment. But I am now on like now I am like re-engaging back with my network. So I'm like working on ways like within my like LinkedIn, I'm reaching out to a lot of my contacts and just like knowing like telling them like what I'm doing, but I wanted to kind of get back into it first before I went that route to see. And I'm already having like really great conversations. And I'm also at some point, I'm really hoping I can like maybe like lead some like workshops that in corporate, and just, and all that kind of stuff. But right now I kind of just severed it. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna like kind of start fresh and see where I can go with like my other networks that I have.
Yeah, yeah, it's so fascinating because a lot of times, someone will come to me and be like, "Well, I want to get started, but there's already this coach out there or this big name or something like that." And I'm like, "Yeah, but your people don't know that person. They know you."
Yes,
Like
yes,
I had
yes.
another coach who was like talking about some really big health coach, and she was like, "Why would anyone work with me when they can work with her?" And I was like, "I literally have never heard of this other person, but I know you
Yes.
super well. I want to work with you." So it's
Yes.
interesting how it's like sometimes like people through the grapevine of different ways, and it might be
Yes.
your previous network from a job. It could be like friends of friends of friends. And it could also be the people who you encounter as like a guest expert or on Instagram or all these things. But I think like just being open to that is like really cool. So I'm curious, when did you like officially leave Amazon?
Yeah, so I ended up officially leaving in May. And so, and honestly, like, and I pretty much in May, I really like really just hit the ground running and just made the move. And so I like got my Instagram back up. I like did the website. I've done all the things, and I actually launched my first group program in June. So like I was like fast too, which is one of the funnest things for me because like invent and simplify is also like one of the leadership principles. So I'm like constantly just like trying new things and like trying to like use ChatGPT and do automate. And I'm just having so much fun doing it. I get a little crazy though, because like I want to do all the things, but I've been like literally hitting the ground running since I left. I never really took a break, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. That's how I feel every day. Like every day I'm like, oh, what are all the things we could do? And it's like every once in a while I'll get in a funk and be like, this isn't working or something. But like for
Yeah.
the most part, it's just this like general excitement of like, I can do
Yes.
this and I can do that. And we can like do this. And this person had this cool result. And like it's just I
Yes.
think your purpose, like you don't tire of it. You literally
No.
feel this way. And that's what I was so missing when I was drinking and in my previous career is I felt
Yeah.
like kind of dead in that way.
Yeah.
I wasn't alive in this sense of like, you know?
Yes, I mean it's 100%. And I think about that all the time. And I've said since the beginning, because I'm over 3 years alcohol free. Like I honestly, for me, it's been like the key to life for me. I felt like when I was drinking, and I wasn't a daily drinker or anything like that, but I was a very heavy binge drinker. And but it was like all I was starting to look forward to. And I felt like blah. I felt like I was just kind of like this Zoloft blob in life. I'm like I didn't really know, like I didn't really have true joy or like true passions. I'd like worked out and stuff, but like I didn't like really feel like I was able to just really enjoy the like life that we have and like all these possibilities. And I feel like it's completely opened my eyes. And I'm just, it's the best decision I've ever made. And now I get to like meet other women that are doing the same or like help women, also like follow their dreams. And it's been just amazing for me.
Yeah, it's so freaking fulfilling. Okay, I'm super
Yes.
curious, Jamie. What would you say to someone who, they do well, maybe in corporate, so the performance reviews, like all that kind of stuff, but for some reason feel nervous or just maybe have a limiting belief about going out on their own and having their own business. And, I think it's really fascinating because women start businesses less than men, so twice as
Mhm.
likely. And so men are still dominating in the entrepreneurship space. Women actually outperform men, by the way. So we have
Yes.
better like revenues and returns and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
non-drinkers perform the best. So a woman who
Yeah.
doesn't drink is just like gonna have the best returns.
Yes.
But in addition to that, I think like the reward, it is our entrepreneurship is hard. You're not getting a steady paycheck. You have to build
Yep.
it from the ground up, but the reward can go so much further and higher in the impact you can have. So,
Yeah.
88% of millionaires are actually entrepreneurs. So with this being said, when someone does do well in a corporate role, what do you think are some of the skills or some of the personality traits or things that they can mine from their previous experience that would actually make them really good entrepreneurs?
Yeah, absolutely. One, I would say is just having a kind of a growth mindset, right? You need to be able to learn as you go and as you figure things out because things are hard. You're going to be trying out things and you're likely going to fail. Like you're going to stumble, but you want to be able to learn from that and keep going and try different things to be able to do so. So I'd say growth mindset's huge. Two, one thing I don't have is like kind of that sales mentality. I was always in like program management roles. I did lead a business, but I was like not on the sales side. So I would say if you have those sales skills, like that will go a long way for you because that's something I'm constantly working on. Like I listen to a lot of your podcasts to help me with that piece of it, right? And then also I would have to say just somebody that is, that has that, is able to just execute quickly as well and be able to just like adapt to the environment and the needs of your clients. I think that's like a really big deal for me too. Like I'm constantly trying to figure out like what are my clients like biggest pain points and what can I do to solve them. And I'm constantly learning from like other leaders in the space, podcasts, other like Instagram, accounts, things like that, and really trying to just continue to kind of like optimize what I'm doing to provide better services and really to help my clients that way. And then I would say the last thing for me is just like really just having like empathy too for yourself and then like also for your clients, I would say is like huge in this too for sure. Does that help you answer that or should I redo that?
Yeah, yeah,
I
for
felt like I was
sure.
like blabbing.
Yeah. You also mentioned being a mom and you have a son with
Yeah.
special needs. How has
Yeah.
your family life changed from having this like stressed out 60 plus hour work week to what you're doing today?
Yes, that is such a good question. So, yeah, it's been amazing for me. I felt like every single morning when I would wake up, I would immediately check my email and like feel like I needed to be like online and at night too. And I think a lot of that kind of like was a carryover from just working from home during the pandemic because it was really hard. But I have like my mornings are just more relaxed. Like I usually like read like and I'm with my kids around and we're like hanging out and we have like make them breakfast. And it's just like very low pace before. Like sometimes I'd just be rushing out of the house like super intense, like come on. Like and now I feel like it's just like really being more present in the morning and just like really enjoying the morning because it's my favorite part of the day. And then also just presence at night. I would say also just like having flexibility during the day has been key. I took my daughter, we got like our nails done on Friday. Like how great was that? Like at 1 o'clock. Like and I just being able to do that just felt so great. And I did she's usually like in a daycare. Like and I just was able to do that. And so I feel like I'm able just to spend more time, but I'm also just happier because like every day I get up, I don't feel like and you probably feel the same. I don't feel like this is work at all, like what I'm doing. Like I'm so excited every single day to do what I'm working on. It's so much fun. And they feel that too and they see it. So like for me, I'm like just in a better mood every second day. It's been night and day for me. Like I mean, I have my moments of stress, but like it's completely reduced, I would say, for the most part.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I
Yeah.
love that. And I think it's just so, telling too. We've gone through this structure culturally where like moms stayed at home and then that was like a little existentially depressing because it didn't feel like you had meaning outside of your home life. Then we all went to the workforce and,
Yeah.
put the shoulder pads on and stuff.
Yes.
All like men. And now it's like I think our generation is redefining it all over again, like
Yes.
family work. And it's like we're not choosing one or the other. We're actually inventing this new way where you get to be the boss, you get to be an entrepreneur, you get to make money, you get to help a lot of people, but you
Yeah.
do it on your terms and you get to be with
Yes.
your family, and that's just the best of both worlds that way.
It's been really good. And I'm still adjusting to the hours and stuff because I'm still like corporate mindset. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like as soon as they're gone in the morning, I'm working till 4 or 5. I'm like, actually, no, I can go grocery shopping at 11 if I want. Like I went for a run in the afternoon on Monday and I was like, this is amazing. Like, and I like so I have to remind myself that like I have more flexibility too, and just also be mindful of that because like I do have so much fun working on my business and growing it that forget that it's work. And then I'm like, no, I actually need to take that time for myself every once in a while and like really enjoy being able to have that flexibility. So
Yeah.
I'm really being mindful of that.
Yeah. I like yesterday went to Costco at like 2 p.m. and I was like, ooh, like I'm got Costco.
I know it's like the best part of the day. I know you're like, no one else is here. It's great. Yeah.
So you have obviously not only like excelled in your professional career, but it was like a very demanding, Amazon is like one of the top companies in the world. And so it's
Mhm.
like the epitome of corporate, probably corporate
Yeah.
speak, corporate structures, all that kind of stuff. And it's a really different mindset, and everyone you knew around you worked in probably this company or companies like that and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And then I live in this other world, I've been here for the last 7 years where all these entrepreneurs are building these incredible businesses. They're flying around the world, going to Bali and Costa Rica to lead retreats, conferences and all this kind of stuff. So there's this whole other world, I guess, that I think people don't know about in the entrepreneurship space. And I
Mhm.
think you're getting like so entrenched now and like learning from all these different people and stuff like that. But like I have so many friends who I know who work in corporate who just have no idea about this other world and are
Yeah.
so used to this idea that like an employer is meant to, take care of you and you're going to have the like less risk that way and that it's the best way to get ahead and stuff like that. So I'm curious if there's things that you had to shift from going from that like corporate employee mindset to like the CEO entrepreneurship mindset, and if you've been
Mhm.
noticing any differences between the two worlds that maybe you want to point out, or I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I would say, like, for me, I think I'm still kind of figuring out what the balance is for me because, like, I'm also like, I'm trying to do all the things all the time. And, like, so, and I get really excited. So I'm also like, I'm using a lot of the things I would do at Amazon as far as like, what's my roadmap for the rest of the year? Like, what should I like invest in versus not invest in? Like, what can I test out versus not, things like that. I would say for me, though, like, being able to make my own decisions has been awesome. Like I'm like the key decision maker. I run it by my husband every once in a while if I need to brainstorm. But for the most part, like I get autonomy to like everything I want to do, which is fabulous. Like I don't have to ask anybody for time off. I don't have to ask anybody for permission to run some tests on Facebook. Like I don't have to do any of that. And I also like I started out in corporate and startup world, which I love. Like and for me, it's like I get to wear all the hats. Like at Amazon, a lot of the times, like you're kind of like you're in this role and that's your role. I mean, you can take out like responsibility outside your scope. But like I like that now I'm like I'm my own market, like I'm my like chief marketing officer now. I'm also my CFO. I'm like doing all the things. And I feel like it's actually making me a more well-rounded individual and just a better entrepreneur because I'm doing all the things and I'm learning so much more. And if I ever were to go back to corporate, I'd be like, I have all these skills now that are completely applicable too. And that's what I think about a lot because I'm doing all the things. I'm doing like content, I'm doing the sales, I'm like doing partnerships, I'm like, all these things. And so I think that's the really cool thing for me. It's like I get to do it all. And it's like it's all for me. But at the same time, it's like, and I also feel we're in a world right now where a lot of companies are like they're reducing workforce. They're leaning on AI. And so I think for me, I feel very confident in my choice and what I'm doing from like a financial aspect as well, which is like really good. I mean, I'm still starting out, I'm still figuring it out, but I feel like for me, I'm super excited about what's going to happen for my business as it's grow, and it's all in my control too. If that
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm reading a book right now, and it's about someone who he's talking about high level skills and like what skills are going to be needed in the future generations.
Mhm.
And especially like what you just said, like things are changing, AI is replacing a lot of different things. And all of the skills that this author mentioned were exactly the skills that we develop as entrepreneurs in
Yeah.
online marketing, especially. So
Yeah.
not any kind of entrepreneurship, but the kind that we're doing
Yeah.
where you're wearing all the hats and reaching people all over the internet. And I was just like, damn, right? Like, thank God
Yes.
there's this choice because even if, let's say, you started this and 10 years into it or 2 years into it, you're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore or whatever like that.
Yeah.
You're gonna be the most employable person because of the skills that
Yes.
you built. And this is
Yeah.
what a lot of those old school companies actually need more of because they're not in
Yeah.
touch with like the trends and internet marketing and
Yes.
stuff like that. So I just think it's so valuable. But then the personal growth that you go through as a business owner,
Yeah.
do you think it's more for that or going alcohol free? Like what has stretched you more, do you think? I think maybe the like black and white happens more with the alcohol free, but I've
Yeah.
noticed for myself, like it just keeps going so much deeper into the growth as an entrepreneur as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like since I, transitioned to a full-time coach, I've been seeing a lot of change in me as far as like my like ability to be okay when things don't go the way I expected them to. Like if I'm like trying to promote something and I'm just not getting, as many clients as like my initial goal and things like that. And I'm like taking it. So I'm more like gentle on myself and saying, you know what, I just started this, like, and I have these huge dreams and I'm like used to like big results. And I think that's just from working in corporate for so long. But I'm like giving myself like grace along the way, which is something I didn't ever do before, like at Amazon. Like I think now I'm more kind to myself. And it's something I would actually just tell my own clients to do. And I feel like I've been doing that and like just really like, and that's my growth I've been seeing for me. It's just like really understand like, hey, you're doing your best here. Like I'm so proud of myself for taking this leap and every day just trying these new things. And I'm just trying to just take it easy and just learn and just like and give myself some grace along the way. I would say that's been the biggest thing for me. And then also I was surprised that Amazon was always my identity. Like I always loved telling people I work there. It was like I always had to say it immediately because like I've always just been this like always need validation type of person. I think a lot of women are like that, right? And so as soon as I left, I just like shed it off me. It's like I did, and now I'm like it's not even a part of me anymore. And it's really cool for me to actually see that and be like, no, like I wasn't just Amazon. I'm a mom, I'm a friend, I'm a runner, I'm this coach, I'm an entrepreneur now, and I have all these other facets to me. And it wasn't just that corporate. I feel like I really am growing into that, and I'll continue to grow into that.
Yeah. I love how you said too about the grace and like
Yeah.
just recognizing that you're gonna feel some of the lows like a lot here because it's your baby and it's like your
Yeah.
creation, but that also there's no outside pressure. Like it's just
Yes.
and you have the big dreams, but I think,
Hmm.
being that grace for yourself is what actually is gonna enable you to achieve those dreams at the end of the day versus,
Yeah.
expecting. I remember when I expected 20 people to sign up for my first course and I was so sad that only two people signed up. And then
Yes.
like now I'm like, I can't even believe two people signed up. That was amazing
Yeah.
for the very first launch, you know?
Yes, exactly. And it's like, and I think we're just so hard on ourselves. I've been really focused on that. Like, hey, like it's the fact that I'm doing this thing, like that is like good enough for me right now. And I'm just going to continue just to see how it goes. And I'm just so excited about it. But I'm really just trying to be nice to myself during this time because it's a transition, but I'm having a blast. And I also love like learning from everybody else that's in the space, like, you, Jen Hurst, there's so many like coaches out there. And I'm just like, and I try to make it so I'm not like comparing myself to them. It's like, no, I want that. I want to learn from them. So I'm really trying to model that too, instead of that comparison game. It's like, no, I want to be like that. And like, I want that. So I'm very much trying to do that too. And really trying to not, and trying to challenge all my limiting beliefs that I have. Like, and I know I do deserve to be here.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when I started, I thought that I was on a different road than those people. Like somehow I missed the exit and
Yeah.
everything I was doing was wrong or something. And I didn't realize like,
Yes.
no, I'm on the same road. I'm just a little bit behind on that road. They're a little
Yes.
up. And it just validates like every failure, everything that didn't go as planned or anything like that. Like that's the road. That's the road
Yes.
everyone took, that you aspire to or that inspires you at the forefront. So I love that message.
Yes.
One question around like transitioning out of corporate, and then I'd love for you to share a little bit more about your niche.
Yeah.
Any like logistical tips? Like how did you make it work? Maybe conversations with your partner? Did you save up for it? Did you have like, were you already monetizing before that? Like how did you make those kind of decisions? And feel free to share
Yeah.
what helpful for you.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, for me, I just had lots of conversations with my partner, and he's always been supportive of this too, because he's seen so many changes in me, and then he's also had a lot of changes when he like since I quit drinking too, and so he's just been supportive. So we just talked about it, and essentially we just kind of talked about like how we can make it work. And we're just doing it. So like I didn't have like any clients because I honestly took it back on pause. I restarted it. Like I was doing things on the side, but like not actually monetizing. And we pretty much am just like we're just giving it a try. And then, and my goal is for next year to be able to be by next June to be able to sustain it by myself and to be able to have like similar income to I did at Amazon, or there's a certain number I'm trying to hit. And then my goal is to just hit that. So that's kind of how I'm in, like am right now. Also just constantly just like kind of checking to see how I'm doing, trying to optimize, trying to learn from like other like leaders, coaches in the space and just going from there. So it's a big leap for me. I feel very lucky that I'm actually able to do that because I know a lot of women that I've met that are coaches they aren't able to do that. So I'm very lucky that I'm able to do that. And I feel like it's just been really great for me because I'm literally like focused on this all the time, like during the day. So
Yeah, yeah. And I love this saying, like the partnership too, because, when I
mhm.
quit my job, I was already pretty profitable, but I wanted to just reinvest so much back into the business to grow
Yeah,
more. So I relied on my husband's income. And like that was
yeah,
the conversation we had. And a lot of people are able to potentially do something like that. Like I think it's an unspoken idea until you speak it out loud. And it's like, what if
yes.
this for a year and a little downsize maybe the first year, but then
Mhm.
the potential could be huge, and it's just a matter of having that bravery to like voice what you want and
Yeah,
know that, success doesn't have to be working these 60-hour weeks, until you're
yes.
right. It's the
Yeah,
what if question. All right, Jamie, tell me
yeah.
about niche. Like, tell me about the type of woman you work with, like how you're positioning yourself out there. What do you love?
Yeah. Yeah. So I really work with high achieving women that just want to live their best lives alcohol free. And so for me, it's like typically women. I have my own community now. So I do have women from 35 all the way to 70 in my community. And for me, it's really working with women that are wanting more out of life. So I really work with them and focus on mindset, movement, and self-care through 5 daily habits. I do a lot, and like for me, my whole thing is about confidence. Like I really want to help women live to build confidence in their alcohol-free journey. Because I've found over the years with women I've worked with, or just a lot of my friends and in the community, like confidence holds us back with that, with our choices. So I really try to focus on that. So I do a lot of identity shifts within my programs. And so right now I'm doing group coaching. I'm doing a fall program right now. I also just like I have my confidence club community. I'm doing workshops with another sober coach, Allie, who's joining your certification program, which is amazing. And I also just did a yoga workshop. So I'm just doing all the things in one-on-one coaching, and it's been great.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I know there's some people in the audience who are like, I need that right now. So we'll be sure to include your links in the
Oh,
show notes below.
yeah, thank
Thank you
you.
so much for, really talking through the honest journey about your experience of not
Yeah,
only getting certified, but then, having that kind of lull and then going, back into
yeah,
it, like now being so on fire in this purpose that just didn't let you go. Do you have
yeah.
any words of wisdom before I let you go, just to put you on the spot for fun?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say like no matter if like you are trying to transition out of job or you're curious about being alcohol free, just take one little action today and just keep going. And I think like for me it was all about just like continuing to push through, really kind of figuring out what I want and just going for it. And it's not going to always be easy. There's always going to be different like curves in the road, but honestly, I think it's just like kind of figure out literally what your heart wants and just go for it because like everybody is meant to have the life of their dreams, right? And so you got this.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much, Jamie. I love this episode.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome.